January 2010, when you took office, what was the budget situation facing Virginia?
You know, Jennifer, we're coming out of the worst economy in modern Virginia history.
After the fife and drum corps left Virginia's Capitol Square and his inaugural festivities ended, Governor McDonnell began his first day in office facing a nearly $2 billion budget gap for the year and a fiscal forecast that projected a $4 billion gap over the next 2 years. His predecessor, Governor Tim Kaine, gave a parting suggestion: trim $2 billion out of the state's $80 billion budget that many believed was already lean, and use taxes to raise the other $2 billion. But raising taxes wasn't an option for McDonnell. Instead, working with a Democratic Senate and a Republican House, he rolled back the clock 4 years, returning state spending levels to those of 2006.
When you make the cuts, you force people throughout the administration and throughout the bureaucracy, if you will, to do things big, better, and smarter. And you know what? They will, because we got a lot of great people in government.
The cuts, he admits, were politically uncomfortable. He trimmed every agency except public safety, including education and health. The governor then used some old-fashioned business tools, including a financial incentive to keep state agencies from going on infamous year-end spending sprees to drain their budgets of any leftover money. McDonnell put an end to that by using a basic business incentive, giving employees a bonus for saving the government money.
And we said, look, you save money and you'll have a 3% bonus. So they saved $175 million and we spent about $80 million on bonuses. I mean, it really worked well. Private sector type incentives to get people to conserve and save and be more efficient.
His policies worked so well that 6 months after taking office, the new governor announced that Virginia would finish the fiscal year with a $403 million surplus.
You got to bring in great private sector initiatives and be efficient, and then spend well on those things that government's supposed to do, and then let the churches, the synagogues, the private sector, the benevolent organizations, the rest of our great institutions in society, let them do the work that they're appointed to do.
The private sector seems to like the climate. Since McDonnell took office, Virginia has added nearly 68,000 jobs. His administration had a personal hand in attracting nearly 16,000 of them, and at 6.8%, Virginia has one of the lowest unemployment rates in the nation and is rated as one of the strongest economies in the country.
It's a remarkable turnaround governors across the country would love to copy. And as Congress and the president begin the new year tackling America's $1.3 trillion spending gap and more than $13 trillion debt, Governor McDonnell says they could learn a thing or two from the Virginia way.
You know, Jennifer, it all comes down to this basic, simple premise that I think every person graduating from kindergarten understands, and that is you can't spend more than you have for any sustainable period of time or you go broke. And that's what's happening.
He calls current levels of spending in Washington immoral.
Conservative economists will say that governments don't have deficit problems. They have spending problems. Is that as practical when it comes to governing as it is for someone sitting on the sidelines talking about how government should spend money?
In most cases, I'd say yes. We looked at state spending over the last decade, and it had doubled. It had grown 28% faster than the rate of growth in population and inflation, which is a pretty good measure about how much spending should grow. So it told me, look, we got areas that we can cut, streamline.
And he's still at it. In his new budget released just weeks ago, McDonnell is cutting or reprioritizing nearly $200 million. And for the first time in almost 30 years, he's asking state employees to contribute to their own pensions, which will result in a pay cut. He plans to tackle the growing cost of Medicaid that he estimates faces a $2 billion unfunded expansion under the new federal health care law. He's also working to pull Virginia out of the liquor business by privatizing state-owned and run liquor stores, a market Virginia took over after Prohibition. McDonnell wants to pour the savings into Virginia's aging transportation system.
We want performance-based budget. We don't want to just feel good putting money in things. We want results. And that's what people expect out of government, is more results for less money, and that's the track we're on.
A track towards more conservative fiscal policies that he says have a proven record of prosperity. Jennifer Wishon, CBN News, Richmond, Virginia.